Hello, everybody. I'm going to try to keep this as a quick-ish check-in with you in person. I've read your posts for teaching creation in an era of climate crisis, and really am impressed and excited by your work in this regard. I will be responding individually as I try to do to your posts. Not every single one of them, but I try as much as possible. I also want to add that I think we are at a critical time in the Earth's uh, existence, and certainly all of the species in that in this Earth. And so this is not just as usual. And I do believe as well that theologically there is so much to think about and respond to as regards the partnership piece. To what extent are we as human beings who, in whatever way we understand, made in God's image, have responsibilities that are in some ways God-like. In particular, the conscious power to create and destroy, which I think in a more naturalistic or process-oriented theology is godly. I'd like to just read something from a rabbi. There was a question: if you were on a desert island, what would be one piece of Torah or one part of the liturgy that you would take with you? And he writes as follows, that it would be the second paragraph of the Shema, or maybe the whole Shema, but in particular he says that the second paragraph urges us to love and serve God with all our heart and soul, because then the rains and our crops will come on time. An initial reaction may be that this piece is anachronistic and only appropriate to an agricultural society. More fundamentally, it may be argued from a scientific perspective that this is not how the world operates. Yet, in this era of climate crisis, we are aware that if we do not live in harmony with nature, if we do not obey natural law, and if we pay no heed to the consequences of our actions, we influence the climate and agricultural prospects of many of the inhabitants of the world. This speaks to me, says the author, of a God who is both a unity, where everything is interconnected, but it is also immanent in the world of diversity. The Shema starts with the affirmation of the unity of God and then looks at the practical reality and diversity of human life, not to mention further beyond human life. What appeals to me about this second paragraph, says the author, is not only that it reminds us that our actions have consequences, which most people, whether religious or not, already know, but our thoughts, words, and actions have greater consequences than we often realize. So part of my wondering in terms of our role as Jewish educators on this subject is, how do we understand and integrate various theological statements, affirmations that we may be teaching our students that come from the Siddur in particular, so that it's not, oh, that's religion, that's science, or oh, that's prayer, it's not really what we're talking about. How do we find somehow the intersection, the overlapping? and I'm still wondering about it myself. To be continued for the next couple of days.